Hi everyone, welcome to our group presentation created by Gilda Rosado, Kirsten O'Donnell, McKenna Freeberg, Stephanie Camarena Macias, and Yasmin Escobar. The topic we chose for our study was social media and self-esteem. Our team was interested in how social media affects our society. It has clearly played a role in our daily life, and we believe it has had a significant impact on self-esteem as well. People tend to post their best life on the internet, so when all we see is filtered pictures and accomplishments, it can be really easy to make comparisons with one's own real life. Social media can lead to comparisons and feelings of inadequacy. As a result, social media can lead to issues such as anxiety and depression, but when used properly, it also can provide support, connections, and an outlet for self-expression. Our presentation focuses on the effects that social media has had on an individual's self-esteem levels. So let's get into some previous research regarding social media and self-esteem. Our goal was to identify gaps in previous studies related to our topic. This would allow us to further investigate and narrow down underlying reasons. Anthony L. Burrow published an article titled, "How Many Likes Did I Get? Purpose Moderate Links Between Positive Social Media Feedback and Self-Esteem." It validated our study by agreeing with the dependent relationship between social media and the definition of self-image. Essentially, the study states that those who received a greater amount of likes showed higher levels of self-esteem. This supported the sociometer theory that one's self-esteem is reflective of one's value to others in society. After we created our hypothesis and conducted our study, we realized that there's a previous study conducted by Jan Sumro that might be unreliable in regards to our own study. Jan's study, Impact of Social Media on Self-Esteem, implies that their study generalized social media based off of just one platform, Facebook, because it was the most popular social media used in the region where they collected their sample. Although they found significant and relative correlations between social media and mental health, there were a few factors that were not taken into account. For example, their choice to exclude various social media platform users, whereas we collected our own data, from people who use social media to any extent. Exclusion of these platforms hindered the ability to make generalizations from similar samples and threatens external validity. Individuals might present themselves differently on one platform than they do on another. Our hypothesis was that the more hours an individual spends on social media, the more likely they are to have a lower self-esteem. We also believed that women who spend more hours on social media will have lower self-esteem levels compared to men. What was our method? So our participants were 52 undergraduate students. 29 of them were women and 23 of them were men. They came from a large urban community college in the Southwest. They did not receive any compensation for their participation, and they all acknowledged a consent form, and all research was collected voluntarily. All right, so our first variable was social media usage. We asked participants to answer questions regarding their social media usage. These questions would include how often, for what, and what kind of social media they use. Our second variable was self-esteem. We had them fill out a questionnaire containing questions about their self-esteem. The questions they answered regarding self-image, confidence, and self-esteem were the ones that we took into our study. Okay, so our procedure basically consisted of a questionnaire that we gave out to 52 undergraduate students. The questions contain materials such as how often they spend on social media, their gender, what websites are being used, and whether or not the participants think social media has an effect on their mental health. Participants were provided a questionnaire that varied their social media usage, what platforms, how often, and what activity, then measured significant correlations of the reported qualities relevant to self-esteem. On a correlative matrix analysis, we found a strong correlation in an individual's response to "when I do not get enough likes on my post, I feel unworthy," and "I often reject positive feedback from others." This can be seen in Figure 1. Here is Figure 1, which is a copy of our results graph, including some statistically significant data that we found. Using Pearson's correlation measurement, we found a correlation coefficient of 0.519 between the statement, "When I do not get enough likes on my post, I feel unworthy," and the statement, "I often reject positive feedback from others," among 47 participants, which represents a medium effect. Another interesting correlation was actually a negative correlation between the statement, "When I do not get enough likes on my post, I feel unworthy," and the statement, "I am an attractive person," shown in Figure 1. The variables, "On the whole, I am satisfied with myself," "I like new and different environments," and "I am able to identify what is good about me," are elements that are consistent with the mentioned negative correlation numerical values. Our hypothesis that the more hours spent on social media correlates with some form of a mental health issue was shown to hold significance. This suggests that social media usage within 5 or more times a day can have a negative effect on one's mental health. According to the significance levels in our study, our hypothesis does suggest social media usage and mental health related issues do have a positive correlation. One piece of the hypothesis we didn't really delve into was whether women who spend more time on social media have lower self-esteem compared to men. This would be an interesting subtopic to study. The conclusion of our study is that social media usage up to 5 times a day does have an effect on the self-esteem of its users. Thank you everyone for watching our presentation. I hope we were able to shed some insight between the correlation of social media usage and self-esteem. Have a great day.